I've been mad for fucking years, absolutely mad. Over the edge working with bands. I'm mad for fucking years. Gotta go sometime.
Welcome back to Acid Casualties. Born Peter Allen Greenbaum on October 29th, 1946. Peter Green is a British blues rock guitarist and founder of the band Fleetwood Mac. He was ranked 38th in Rolling Stone's list of the 100 greatest guitarists of all time. His tone on the Blues Breakers instrumental, The Supernatural, was rated as one of the 50 greatest tones of all time by Guitar Player magazine. In June 1996, Green was voted the third best guitarist of all time in Mojo magazine. Now it may or it may not be worth stating, but in 1998, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for his work with the group Fleetwood Mac. But honestly, that is the only thing binding these entities together. Well, that and the fact that both groups shared the same bass player and drummer, and also they shared the same name. But ultimately, the entity known as Fleetwood Mac went through lots of lineup changes. There even was an actual fake version of Fleetwood Mac band running around the Los Angeles area for a while. But for the sake of this video, I will reduce it to the original band under the leadership of Peter Green, as they did release albums and find some success. And then much later down the road, we see the Los Angeles crew descend upon the established namesake of Fleetwood Mac, creating the entity that 99 out of the 100 people know as Fleetwood Mac. The disco Fleetwood Mac. The radio-friendly Fleetwood Mac. Darlings of that piece of shit Rolling Stone magazine, Fleetwood Mac, the cocaine-addicted band, who cheated on each other with bandmates and crew members. They supposedly cared about each other enough for this to be an extremely painful situation, but through mountains of alcohol and cocaine, which were occasionally administered rectally, they made it through all of that and ultimately hit the big time with their Rumors album. FM radio staples and hits such as Tusk, which more than likely is a reference to a tool used to defeat the sphincter in an effort to further administer drugs rectally. Ditties like Go Your Own Way, Pepper FM radio, which was in place at most blue-collar institutions in the 80s, making it painful for employees who did not care for imaginary witch Stevie Nicks' low-timbered vibrato assaulting their eardrums every hour on the hour. This was actually the case ad nauseum, to the point of people walking around stating that
Lindsey Buckingham was their favorite guitar player.
And from what I've come to understand, this band and its recordings have found a whole new home with the hipsters, as Fleetwood Mac cassettes are what has come into vogue at house parties fueled by cheap and shitty-tasting, bitter, low-alcohol content beers such as Pabst Blue Ribbon, and you guessed it, quote-unquote, cocaine, which is more than likely meth that has been danced on more times than the floor at the Emperor's Ball. But I digress. Today we are not here to discuss what is good. Today we are not here to discuss what is popular. We are here to discuss dropouts from society, the ones who gave it all. Today we are here for the acid casualties.
I can't help about the shape I'm in. I can't sing, I ain't pretty, and my legs are thin. But don't ask me what I think of you. I might not give the answer that you want me to.
Peter Green was born in Bethnal Green, London. He played in his first band called Bobby Dennis and the Dominoes, which performed chart covers and rock and roll standards, including Shadows covers. He went on to join rhythm and blues outfit the Muskrats, then a band called the Tridents in which he played bass. And in 1966, Green later played guitar in Peter Barden's band Peter B's Lunars, which is where he met drummer Mick Fleetwood. Now, Mick Fleetwood, that's the guy who makes the goofy eyes when he plays drums. And I'm guessing that when he bugs his eyes out, that is more than likely the tusk coming into play, being administered rectally, feeding him more, many more ounces of methamphetamine or whatever stimulants required to make him be able to play his instrument properly. After 3 months with Barden's group, Green had the opportunity to fill in for Eric Clapton in John Mayall and the Blues Breakers for 3 concerts. Soon after, when Clapton left the Blues Breakers, he became the full-time member of Mayall's band. Now, this was right around the time that Eric Clapton, they had the graffiti going around about Eric Clapton being God. Green made his debut recording in 1966 with the Blues Breakers on an album called A Hard Road, which featured 2 of his original compositions, The Same Way and The Supernatural. The latter was one of Green's first instrumentals, which would soon become a trademark. So proficient was he that his musician friends bestowed upon him the nickname the Green God. In 1967, Green decided to form his own blues band and left the Blues Breakers. Green's new band, with former blues breaker Mick Fleetwood on drums and Jeremy Spencer on guitar, was initially called Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac featuring Jeremy Spencer. Bob Brunning was temporarily employed on bass guitar, as Green's first choice Blues Breakers bassist John McVie was not yet ready to join the band. Within a month, they played the Windsor National Jazz and Blues Festival in August 1967 and were quickly signed to Mike Vernon's Blue Horizon label. Their repertoire consisted mainly of blues covers and originals, mostly written by Green, but some by the other guitarist, Spencer. Now at this point, I'm going to pause. I just wanted to apologize to anyone out there who's maybe watching this video that is a fan of the Stevie Nicks version of Fleetwood Mac. Me personally, I can't stand that band for, I've already kind of went into those reasons. The infidelity, number 1, the music. Number 2, the drug use. And just, there's a lot of things that just really, really bug me about that band. But hey, music is subjective. I look at Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac and I think, oh my goodness, was this guy influential? And was this guy talented? And it was such a shame that we lost him. Like, nobody kind of cared. Nobody really talked about it. It really wasn't a big deal. What was a big deal was the amount of cocaine Stevie Nicks was putting up her. And to me, that's just telling. Now, I wanted to read this blurb. As I was snooping around online preparing to make this video, I stumbled across this paragraph from ultimateclassicrock.com. This kind of sums up where I'm coming from.
Hardcore fans will tell you and insist that Fleetwood Mac formed in 1967 and released their first album a year later. Those may be the facts, but for all intents and purposes, the band didn't really start until 1975, when Americans Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks joined what was left of the British blues rockers, transforming the band into one of the most popular groups of the 70s.
That's this one man's opinion. Me, I can't even weigh them on the same scale, because I see disco, I see tripe versus something truly inspired. And I think that Peter Green really was something special. I think he did really have a talent that is unquantifiable. So there you have it. According to this writer, only hardcore fans can appreciate Peter Green's music. I beg to differ. I think anybody that listens to one or the other is going to be able to tell the difference. More than likely appreciate both. But the folks who own compact discs from the Now That's What I Call Music collection, fear not, you haven't missed out on a beat, as your faithful FM radio has been there throughout your entire life, guiding you towards truth and beauty and universal harmony. You know what I like best about the radio? The commercials. No, wait, let's how many interesting bands I've discovered by listening to my FM radio. Mr. Green's work chronicles a guitar genius at the peak of his abilities. His instrumental composition Albatross gave the band their first British #1 hit single. His Black Magic Woman later became a massive hit for Carlos Santana, as well as Green Manalishi for Judas Priest. Other standout tracks include Stop Messing Around, Need Your Love So Bad, Oh Well, and Rattlesnake Shake. However, as the band became more and more successful, Green seemed to be making mental and emotional decline. He had been experimenting with LSD while the band was on the road, and the drugs were negatively altering his personality. An incident in Munich seemed to be the last straw.
Certainly John McVie would fully blame an event in Germany where Peter took some more drugs and for sure never really came back from that, to our recollection, and John is to this day absolutely furious with these people. We call them the German jet set, and they captured Peter completely and pulled him away.
We got to Munich airport. All of a sudden these people showed up. I don't know if it was 2 or 3, but I remember the 2 of them specifically. A very beautiful girl, I mean, like model actress looking, dressed in this black velvet, and whoa, and this guy next to her, and he looked like a John Lennon. He had his wire-rimmed glasses and a cape, and they met Pete right there. It looked like it had been arranged somehow, and it was kind of unspoken. I thought, well, maybe Mick and them know something about these people. They didn't acknowledge any of the rest of us. They were very rude.
The reality was that Peter was already set to leave Fleetwood Mac, pretty much. But my God, this was like the final nail in the coffin, which of course we related to as a band.
So they came to the gig, kind of like they looked at the rest of the band in disdain. And I don't know if it was musically, they didn't think we were quite in the zone enough or whatever it was. They're very intellectual types, you know. They said, oh, there's a party we've been invited to at the this big, huge mansion place in the forest.
We went out to this sort of mansion, pseudo, you know, big old weird house.
And so we're driving into there, and finally we come to this place. And it was a kind of hippie commune sort of thing, with weird stuff going on in all the rooms. That girl was there. She was one with the psychedelic painted walls and everything, but a rich, rich place.
There was definitely some money flying around. They were like German aristocracy-ish.
Arrived there, I got out of the van. Dennis Keane comes walking up to me, he's shaking in his boots. And he was stoned too. He comes up to me and he goes, it's so weird out there. Don't go down there, Jerry. Don't go down there. Pete is weirding out big time. The vibes are just horrible. You know?
I didn't realise what was going on until I tried to talk to someone and didn't realise they were German. And I was on this trip and I didn't understand what was going on. Then I see Pete in this studio playing this guitar with all these, you know, it was like mayhem. Pete was laughing and, you know, he thought it was great.
Dennis Keane, I have some recollection of him being somewhat trying to be the responsible sort of road manager guy. It's like, come on, it's time to go. But in truth, they started sort of getting to us as well.
And then as like anything else, it wears off, and if you're not, if you can wear off with it, then you know what's going on, you're aware of it. And that's immediately I said, well, we got to get out of here.
He was practically in tears. I tried to kind of, you know, reassure him, look, you know, God's in control, he can keep, you know, I did my best, you know. But it was really weird. And the music coming up from below, down there, it was bad news.
So I really was, you know, can't play with no one listening. or enjoy myself or whatever it was. I got the sound, was interesting sound, curious sound.
They definitely knew who they wanted to be with, you know, and nurture, and they had a music thing going on there, and Peter was the man.
And I believe they were some sort of cult. That is what they do. They get you in and they strip you of your identity, of your belongings, of your money, and it helps them to become more powerful. And the reason I say that is because they very likely were just starting up, and Peter Green was a prime man who's making millions. And he did give off this religious look, Peter.
So Pete says, so what do you think of my playing then? You know, and I said, Pete, shit. Sounded like out of the pits. But he said, well, okay, that's what you think. He said, that's the most spiritual music I've ever played in my life.
I had a good play there. It was great. I recorded that. Or I didn't record it, someone recorded it. And they gave me a tape.
And that one girl was there. She was taking nude photographs in one room.
The chap who John has a distinct disdain for had an incredibly beautiful girlfriend or wife. Stunning. And it was all very, yeah.
There's other people playing along, and then playing with a few of us just fooling around. And it was great.
I didn't know where we were. But when we used to play Europe, I'd always have a box of matches or the key of the hotel, so I knew. That's how I phoned the manager up and said, you've got to come down and get us out of here.
A couple of times I'd look and he'd be sitting in the back of the car with Danny, and he'd like this, and Danny would do it, and he would be on the other side, but it's like this together. Like, and I can't remember how this, like they were locked in something together, and it wasn't good.
Peter Green and Danny Kerwin both went together to that house in Munich. Both of them took acid, as I understand it. Both of them, as of that day, became seriously mentally ill. I think it's too much of a coincidence for it to be anything other than taking drugs. It's as of that day, and I think if you speak to Mick and John and Jeremy, they would tell you exactly the same story. You know.
For me, yeah. I think that was the fork in the road.
Uschi Obermeier had dated a lot of rock stars. She was kind of a high-class groupie, if there could be such a thing. She was a former fashion model and an actress associated with the 1968 left-wing movement in Germany. She's considered an iconic sex symbol of the so-called 1968 generation and the protests of '68. With her partner, they were considered to be the German equivalent of John Lennon and Yoko Ono. You can Google the High Fish Commune or Red Army Faction Blues novel for more information. Communard Rainer Langhans mentions in his autobiography that he and Uschi Obermeier met Green in Munich, where they invited him to the High Fish Commune. Their real intention was to persuade Green to help arrange for Jimi Hendrix and the Rolling Stones to perform as headline acts at a Woodstock-style festival in Bavaria. This all seems unusual, considering in Uschi Obermeier's Wikipedia page, it clearly states that she had slept with both Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, and Jimi Hendrix. So I find this reasoning, it falls a bit short, but at the same time, it's also frustrating to know we can never know the truth. All we know is in this case is that the LSD has been blamed again. And in this case, I'm going to question all of what went down at this commune. I question if it was just LSD or perhaps STP, which was another chemical that only went around for a short period of time, right around there in '68, and that was known to be a lot worse than LSD, and there was some permanent damage reported cases of people like suffering permanent damage from taking STP a single time. Also, was there some sort of ritual stuff going on? Everything about this commune, from the interviews I've watched, this sort of thing, it doesn't seem to be so far-fetched if you watch the interviews. The whole event seems like a horrific nightmare scene from a bad 70s horror movie that I would have watched on a Saturday afternoon, a double feature with Equinox on Svengoolie, perhaps. Now, Fleetwood Mac roadie Dinky Dawson remembers that, that's a British name. Dinky Dawson remembers that Green went to the party with another roadie, Dennis Keane, and that when Keane returned to the band's hotel to explain that Green would not leave the commune, Keane, Dawson, and Mick Fleetwood traveled there to fetch Green. By contrast, Green stated that he had fond memories of jamming at the commune when speaking of it in 2009. He said, "I had a good play there. It was just great. Someone recorded it, and they gave me the tape. People playing along, just a few of us just fooling around, and yeah, it was great." He told Jeremy Spencer at the time that it was the most spiritual music he ever recorded in his life. Now, he disappeared for 3 days. He was spiked or dosed with acid, John McVie recalls, and when he came back, that was it. Everything went from there. His autobiographical song, Man of the World, was a hauntingly sorrowful song about a man who has everything he wants, except the companion he obviously craves. It was around this time that Peter began to loathe the fame and fortune he had acquired, and he became extremely religious. Appearing on stage wearing crucifixes and flowing robes, he proposed to the band that they only keep what was absolutely necessary financially and give the rest of the money away to charities. Green said that he had a vision of an angel holding a starving child in her arms, and the vision prompted him to make his charitable proposal. Suddenly, he felt he had too much money to be happy. Thousands of dollars was just too much for a single working man to handle. He felt he didn't deserve it. Now, Mick Fleetwood was resistant to the idea from the very beginning. He felt that they didn't really have any fortunes anyway. John McVie said that he went along with his plan because there was no reason not to. But he soon came to his senses when he realized that the proposition was coming from a guy who had just been given tons of LSD. Faced with the band's refusal to give away all of their monetary gains, Peter Green decided to leave Fleetwood Mac. But not before writing the haunting Green Manalishi, which seems to document his struggle to stop his descent into madness. The Green God left Fleetwood Mac in a responsible manner, and his departure shocked and saddened the music world. Green was eventually diagnosed with schizophrenia and spent time in psychiatric hospitals undergoing electroconvulsive therapy during the mid-70s. Many sources attest to his lethargic, trance-like state during this period. In '77, he was arrested for threatening his accountant, Clifford Davis, with a shotgun. The exact circumstances are the subject of much speculation, the most popular being that Green wanted Davis to stop sending money to him. In the 2011 BBC documentary Peter Green, Man of the World, he stated that at the time he had just returned from Canada needing money, and that during a telephone conversation with his accountant's manager, he alluded to the fact that he had brought back a gun from his travels, and his accountant's manager promptly called the police, who surrounded his home. After this incident, he was sent to a psychiatric institution in London. It would appear that the mind-altering substances that Peter used in his days with Fleetwood Mac have left permanent marks on his psyche. Green himself admits, "I took one too many LSD trips, and that puts me in the care and attention category." He spends much of his time watching television and going for walks. He also attends a day center. He hardly ever touches the guitar. "I'm on some medication," he states. "I do not know what it is, but it makes it hard to concentrate. I rarely feel like playing. Green was interviewed as recently as November 1994 by Guitar Player magazine. While soft-spoken, self-effacing, and evidently still recovering from past traumas, Peter proved to be articulate, humorous, and very much tuned into his own legacy. I am Petey Two Finger. Thank you once again for joining me for Acid Casualties. Peter Green, this is one of my favorite stories. What I would not give to be a fly on the wall at that party. I think there's a lot of speculation. I think there's a lot of people that would like to consider that, this was the 60s. It was just sex, drugs, and rock and roll. My personal take on what was going on is I think it might have been something a bit more on the next level. I think there may have been some occult things going on. Whether or not that had an influence on Peter Green, ultimately, again, we see a guy who is definitely touched. He is set apart, a little bit of a different guy. One of the stories I heard about Peter Green was him having a piece of cheese stuck in his hair. Another musician noticing that he had this hunk of cheese stuck in his long hair, and that 5 days later he ran into him and the same piece of cheese. So obviously Peter Green's a hardcore kind of a dude. This guy means business. He's here to rock and roll. He's here to do one thing, and he's obviously done that. I certainly would like to hear that tape. I know that tape exists, the Munich tape. Watching those interviews from the original bandmates and those people involved struck so much interest in this story for me personally, to look back and enjoy some of Peter Green's music. So that's part of this series, is being able to explore some new music as well. What a great story. I'd encourage you to stay tuned, because we got another episode coming up. We got a couple more episodes coming up, and I'm saving one of my just the all-time favorite stories for last, so look forward to that one. Petey Two Finger checking out. To all you acid casualties out there,